Before moving forward, please subscribe to our channel. Hello everyone, welcome to feeding.net. So in this particular session, we are going to solve the famous two-sum program of LeetCode using couple of approach. The approach 1 will be the brute force approach where the complexity of the solution will be O(n) square. The second approach will be the optimized approach where the complexity will be O(n). Let's start the session. So let's first understand the problem. So here we have an array of integer like 2, 7, 11, 15, and we have an integer target and the sample value of target is 9. Then it says return the index of two number such that they add up to the target. So here if you can say if we add 2 7, then they become 9 and 9 is equal to the target. So in that case we have to return the index of these two inputs. So here the index of 2 will be 0 and index of 7 will be 1 since they are part of the integer array. So that would be our output, that is 0 1. Likewise, they have provided some other sample input where we have 3 2 4 as array of integer and the target is 6. So here when we add 2 4, that will be equal to the target, that is 6. So in that case the index of 2 4 will be 1 2. So that is the output that this program is expecting. So here we have a note that input would have exactly one solution and you cannot use the same element twice. What it means that whatever array of integer they provide, it will always have exactly one solution. It means if 2 7 is 9, then there is no more such combination that add up to the target. So here if you can go down, then there is a note, come up with an algorithm that is less than O(n) square. As I told earlier, we will going to solve this program using both approaches. The first one is the brute force approach where the complexity will be O(n) square, and the second approach will be the optimized one where the complexity will be O(n). So the major difference between both these approaches is that in brute force, I have used couple of for loop. That is why its complexity is O(n) square. And in optimized one, I have used only single for loop. That is why its complexity is O(n). So now, without wasting time, let's jump on to the brute force approach. So here we have the initial array 2, 7, 11, 15, and we have the target 9. So here we have couple of for loop. So the outer for loop will going to pick the first index value, that is 2. So for the each element that outer loop picks, the inner loop will going to run completely, and what they will do, they will try to add the index 0 value of outer loop with each element of inner loop. That is, they will try to add 2 7 and check whether that is equal to target. Then they will check 2 plus 11, then they will check 2 plus 15. So now here we can see that 2 7 is equal to the target which we need. So the loop will simply return the index of both. So here the index of 2 was 0 and index of 7 was 1. So that is our answer. But in case 2 7 did not add up to the target, so what it will do, it will continue to run for 11, for 15, and once that is done, it will again go back to the outer loop and then it will move to the second element, that is 7, and again the inner loop will going to repeat for every element of the array. Let me debug this program. So here I have this method which takes two input parameter, that is nums. Num is basically an integer array, and I have one more variable called target. So the sample integer array is 2, 7, 11, 15, and the sample target value is 9. So now how it basically run, the outer for loop picks the first element and try to sum the subsequent element to make it to the target, like 2 plus 7, then 2 plus 11, 2 plus 15. Then the outer loop will run for the second element, that is 7. Then it will try 7 plus 1, 7, 15, and then in next for loop 11 plus 15, and it will run like that. Let's jump on to the logic. So here we have couple of for loop. The first for loop is there to iterate through each element in the array, and the elements are 2, 7, 11, 15, and the condition in outer for loop is that I will going to start from 0 and it will going to run till I less than nums dot length, and dot length value is 4, and the iteration condition is I plus plus. So eventually it start from 2, then move on to 7, then 11, and then 15. So after that we have one more for loop, that is the inner for loop. This for loop will be run for each element of the outer for loop, and here we will going to check whether the sum of the current element plus the subsequent element is equal to the target or not. If it is equal to the target, we will simply return the index value of these two input variable. So now if I run this program, you can see I value is 0, and here if I equal to 0, then z will going to become 1. In that case, num I, that is 0 index value, will be 2, and num j, that is 1 index value, will be 7. And here I have also attached the watcher to this variable, and you can see num I is 2 and num j is 7. And as we know, 2 plus 7 is going to equal to the target, that is 9. Therefore it will go inside this if, and here what it will going to do, it will just return the index. So here the index of 2 is 0 and index of 7 is 1. So now if you can see, the result of the brute force is basically 0 and 1, and if you can check the console, so here the indexes are 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 basically 2 and 7. So now there could be one test case where no such combination found that add up to the target, although as per this program it says it will always have one valid answer. But let's have that logic in place. So here I have updated the input array as 2 comma 3 comma 11, and I kept the target same as 9. So here there is no such combination that add up to the target 9. So in that case, what I am going to do, I am just going to return an empty integer array. So as I updated the input, as I know there won't be any combination, so here the debugger comes to this line, and if I check the result, I will have the empty integer array. So suppose we have the initial array which has the value 2, 7, 11, 15, and we have a target 9. So here we need to find a combination. If we add any two number, if that make up to the target, so that is our output, and we have to return the index of these two number. So if you look blindly at this array, so 2 comma 7 is the number that we add up to make the target, and hence 0 comma 1 is the index value that we have to return from this method. So now what we will do, we will start by creating an empty dictionary, and we know what is dictionary. Dictionary holds a key value pair, and key should be unique. So in my example, what we will do, we will store the number as key and its index as value to the dictionary. Now after that we will implement a for loop that will going to iterate through each element of the array. So here that for loop picks the first element from the array, that is index 0 position, and index 0 position value is basically 2. So now we have to find the complement number of 2. If we add it to the value 2, it will make up to the target, like 2 plus complement equal to 9. So how do we find it? We find it like by doing target, which is 9, minus that first number, it will give us the complement. So here we have the complement as 7. So 7 is the number. If we add it to 2, it will make up to the target 9. So now after we have a condition, if dictionary is empty, we have to add 2, which is the first number in the dictionary as key with its index value, that is 0. So now in next iteration, the for loop will going to pick the index 1 value, and that is 7. So here again we have to find a complement of 7. If we add it to the 7, it will make up to the target. So again the same procedure, target minus the first number, that is 7, it will give us 2. So 2 is the complement. If we add it to 7, it will sum up to the target, that is 9. So here we again have the same if condition, like if dictionary contains the value 2, which is our complement. So every time we need to find if the complement is present in the dictionary or not. If it is, then we have to return the indexes of the current number and the a value in the dictionary. So in our case, like dictionary contains the value 2 and we know the index of 2 is 0 and we know the index of 7 is 1. So we have to return 0 and 1 from this method. So this is the approach whose complexity is O(n) since we are using one for loop. Now let's move on to the implementation part. So now let's move on to the optimized approach where again I have the same target that is 9 and we have the same integer array that is 2, 7, 11, 15. So step 1 I will be creating a dictionary object. So what is dictionary? So dictionary is basically a collection which hold the key value pair where key has to be unique, it cannot be duplicated. So here in dictionary I will going to store the numbers as key like this 2, 7, 11, 15. So these are the key as number stored in dictionary and I will going to store their indexes as value. So their index 0, 1, 2, 3 will be value. So I will going to run this for loop for each element in the array. So this for loop will going to start from I equal to 0 and it will going to run till I less than num length and it will have the iteration as I plus plus. Here the approach I will be using is first to calculate the remaining value needed to reach the target and that remaining value I will going to store in this dictionary as key. So here you can see the target is 9 and num I since I equal to 0 is 2 since 2 is the first element of the array. So 9 minus 2 is basically 7. So 7 is the value that we needed to reach the target. So now we will going to add this num I into the dictionary that is 2 and I which is index as value. So now in dictionary you can see I have 2 as a key and its index as a value. Now if I run this for loop for the second time and this time I plus plus I will going to become 1, target will again remain same 9 and nums I that is nums 1 should be 7. So here 9 minus 7 is basically 2. So 2 is the value that is needed to reach the target. So that is the exact logic we have to implement. So now we will check whether the remaining value 2 is present in the dictionary as key or not. If it is, then it will simply return the index of that value from the dictionary and along with that it will return the subsequent element index that is I. In that case I will be 1. So here it is, you can see the complement 2 is present in the dictionary as key and it has an index value as 0. So now if you can see the result, so you can see the result says 0 and 1 and if you can see the console the indexes are 0 and 1. So I hope this optimized approach is pretty much clear to you. Here we have used the only one for loop, that is why the complexity is O(n). So now we can run this program in LeetCode as well. You can see the result here. So I hope both this approach is pretty much clear to you. In case you liked our videos, then please do subscribe our channel.